So today we're going to talk about articles, and articles are those little bitty words that we see in front of nouns. And so the three pictures that I have here on the screen are all different pictures or different forms of banana, but we have them labeled differently. So think about what is the difference between une banane versus des bananes versus de la banane. So we should understand that une banane is a banana or one banana, so exactly one whole entire banana. Des bananes means some bananas. We're not giving an exact quantity, but we know that it's more than one. And this is our new word here, or new phrase, I guess, de la banane. De la also means some, but it's some of something singular. So in other words, it ends up being less than one. So whereas une banane is one whole banana, and des bananes means some bananas, plural, de la banane means some banana, not an entire banana, but just some of it. Okay, so think of this as some type of unspecified fraction, some amount that's less than one. Here's another example for us. Here we have un pamplemousse, des pamplemousses, and du pamplemousse. So un pamplemousse, a grapefruit, des pamplemousses, grapefruits, du pamplemousse, some grapefruit. Here we only have half of grapefruit, so it's less than the entire thing. It's not one, it's not more than one, it is some of. One more example with how this works. Here we have un œuf, des œufs. Now, pay attention to the pronunciation difference. I think I mentioned this before. Un œuf, we actually pronounce the F at the end of that word. Des œufs, we do the liaison, so you can hear that S carrying over to the O and it sounds like a Z, but we are not pronouncing the F at the end of that word anymore. So un œuf is an egg, one egg. Des œufs means some eggs, as in more than one. What we see in the picture right here is de l'œuf, which is essentially some egg. It's less than one whole egg, so we're using the singular here, but we're using this to mean some. So that's what we're talking about today. And these are the two different articles that we're going to be dealing with for right now. This you guys know already. A, an, or one, all of those ideas are expressed by un and une in French. So we learned that way back at the beginning of the year. So une banane, un pamplemousse, un œuf. Okay, we know how to do that. Some, the way that we're going to be using it now, is a combination of the word de, which means of, and the word for the. Now, of course, what's tricky is that we have 4 different ways to say the in French. So de means of. We're essentially saying of the. Now, we've seen these contractions before. These came up in our last unit when we had activity expressions that used faire, and we talked about how with faire, we use faire and then a de expression. So these words are not new to you guys. This part should actually be a review. So what I want you to do is stop here and think about what do those words become when we put them together. De le, of the, we don't like the sound of the de le together. And so what happens is these two smush together and they become du. So that word should be familiar to you. So in front of a masculine word, we're going to use du to mean some in the sense of less than one. De la, those two words work just fine together. So we can say de la if it's something that's less than one. De à l'apostrophe, those are okay next to each other as well. So we can just do that, de à l'apostrophe, before something that's singular and begins with a vowel. But then we have this combination, de les. de and les, we don't like the sound of those next to each other. So again, we smush them together and they become a new word, des. Des is essentially the plural of un or une. These three, the du, de la, and de à l'apostrophe, those are the ones that I said indicate a fraction, something that is less than one, okay? So du pamplemousse is something less than one whole grapefruit. De la banane is part of a banana, but not the entire thing. De l'œuf is part of an egg, but not the entire thing. Whereas des is the plural, so it means more than one. So for today, all we're going to work on is making sure that we understand the difference between these and when do we use un or une, when do we use des, and when do we use these other forms of de. So to practice, we're going to do a little activity together. The directions for this say, Géraldine et ses amis parlent de ce qu'ils préfèrent. Géraldine and her friends talk about what they prefer. Choisis l'article indéfini ou le partitif qui convient. Choose the indefinite or partitive article that is correct, essentially. So what you're going to do for each of these sentences is you're going to have a sentence, and before each item, like before the word tartine, you have two choices. So une or du to go along with tartine. And then before chocolat chaud, you have two choices, un or une. Your job is to decide, based on what you know and using your vocab sheet, which is the correct article to go in front of tartine and which is the correct article to go in front of chocolat chaud. And of course, you should also be thinking about what does that sentence mean so that you can practice your vocabulary. So, numéro 1, we would say, moi, j'aime prendre une tartine et un chocolat chaud le matin. So this you should be able to get directly from your vocab sheet, because on your vocab sheet you have une tartine, which tells you that tartine is feminine. Therefore, we can't use du, because du is a combination of de and le, and we use le in front of masculine words. So that's not even an option. With chocolat chaud, we're simply choosing between un and une. Again, on your vocab sheet, you have the phrase le chocolat chaud. So that tells you that it's masculine. Therefore, we would use un and not une. So our sentence means moi, or our sentence is moi, j'aime prendre une tartine et un chocolat chaud le matin, which means me, I like to have a tartine and a hot chocolate in the morning. Okay? So, numéro 2, your sentence is Nathan aime manger blank œuf et blank bacon, mais moi, je préfère manger blank céréales. Decide which is the correct answer for each set of parentheses. So, Nathan aime manger des œufs, because œufs is plural. There's an S at the end of œufs, therefore we need a plural word in front of it. Et du bacon, that comes directly from your vocab sheet. You have du bacon. It's du because bacon is masculine, so we would use du rather than de la. Mais moi, je préfère manger des céréales. In French, the word cereal is always plural because you're eating multiple little pieces of something. So our sentence then is Nathan aime manger des œufs et du bacon, mais moi, je préfère manger des céréales. Nathan likes to eat some eggs and some bacon, but me, I prefer to eat some cereal. Now, of course, in English, we wouldn't use the word some in all of those places, but in French, you need to have a word there. So those are the correct forms that we use. Alors, numéro 3. Gabriel aime prendre croissant et café au lait. Gabriel aime prendre un croissant. We're using un because croissant is masculine, not feminine. Et un café au lait. We have to choose un here because café is also masculine, and for that reason, de la doesn't work. That's not an option because we can only use that in front of feminine food items. So our sentence is Gabriel aime prendre un croissant et un café au lait, which means Gabriel likes to have a croissant and a coffee with milk. Numéro 4. Lola préfère lait et toast avec beurre. So our answer is Lola préfère du lait, because lait is masculine, et un toast, because toast is masculine, avec du beurre. Beurre is also masculine, despite the fact that it ends with an E. This is one of those tricky ones. Even though it ends with an E, it's actually a masculine word. So all three of these are masculine. So our sentence then is Lola préfère du lait et un toast avec du beurre. Lola prefers some milk and a toast with some butter. Again, we wouldn't necessarily use all of those little words like the some and the in English, but in French you have to have them there. Et numéro 5. Aïcha prend rarement banane ou jus de pomme. So we would say Aïcha prend rarement une banane ou du jus de pomme. Aïcha rarely has a banana. Banana is feminine, so we would use une, or some, du jus de pomme, some orange juice. Jus is masculine, so we would use du rather than de la. So most of your choices here, you are able to make the choice simply based off of whether that word is masculine or feminine. And you can find that right on your vocab sheet, because with each of these words, you should be able to see an un or an une or a le or a la, which is a marker of whether these words are masculine or feminine. Now, for the next activity, you need to do a little bit more thinking. The directions here say Maïva et Michel parlent de ce qu'ils vont manger au petit déjeuner. Maïva and Michael are talking about what they are going to have for breakfast. Complète la conversation avec du, de à l'apostrophe, de la, un, ou des. So we have all of these different choices. Remember that you would use un or une if it is simply one item. You would use des if it is plural. And you would use one of these three options if it's something for which you would say or if it's something for which you would say some, and it's less than one. It's not a plural item, but you would use some along with it. Okay? So go ahead, read through the whole conversation, think about what it means, and fill in on a piece of paper, what do you think the correct forms are for each of those? Alors, Maïva asks Michel, qu'est-ce que tu veux manger? Michel, what do you want to eat? Michel says, j'aimerais des œufs avec du bacon et, now there are two answers that I would accept here. You could say either un chocolat chaud or du chocolat chaud. So this sentence means I would like, j'aimerais is the same thing as je voudrais, I would like. So I would like some eggs, we use des because eux is plural. With some bacon, we use du because bacon is singular, there's no S at the end, but we would say some. Now you could either say a hot chocolate, as in like a cup of hot chocolate, or some hot chocolate. So that's why I said that for number 3, either un or du could work. Et toi, qu'est-ce que tu veux manger? And you, what do you want to eat? Maïva says, j'aimerais des céréales avec, now in theory, we could have 2 possible answers here. I'll talk about those in a second. No, it doesn't want me to write an A. That's an A, there we go. et du lait. Okay, so Meva says j'aimerais. Once again, that means I would like. I would like some cereal. Céréales is plural, so we need de in front of it. Now, you could say une banane, meaning she wants a whole banana, or you could say de la banane, meaning she wants some banana. So she's going to take like half a banana and cut it up and put it up on top and put it on top of her cereal. Either of those would be acceptable. It just changes the meaning a teeny tiny little bit. Et du lait, and some milk. Michel says, oh, j'aimerais du beurre aussi pour la baguette. Oh, I would like some butter also for the baguette. Meva says, et moi, j'aimerais aussi un croissant. And me, I would also like a croissant. You wouldn't really have some of a croissant. You either eat the whole thing or you don't. So we're just going to stick with un on this one. Okay. So first we have to make sure that we understand gender. Is this word masculine or feminine? But then we also have to look at quantity. Is this something that we have exactly one of, like one banana or one croissant? Is it something that's plural, like eggs or cereal? Or is it something that we would say some of, like some bacon, some milk, some butter? So you have to think about all of those things to choose the right word to use here.